Patrick, don't play with me. Get in the thing.
I'm in it.
I'm looking at the camera.
How would you have known if it was turned backwards? How would you have known?
Because it was already positioned over there and I was moving over there.
How would you know you would have been in?
Because I was going to be close to you.
I'm close to you now and they still can't see me.
Patrick! Jeez. Tavion. Feed your attitude. Because I want it. All right. Boundaries. Boundaries and family. Part 2. Part 2. Boundary conflicts.
How does yours say something different?
Because you're on a different page.
You didn't read the boundary conflict part. You didn't want to read that.
I saw it on yours.
But you didn't turn to it. Like most people start here.
Now you're okay. Well, I'm not most people. Now you have Susie. I have Susie. You have Nicole.
Interesting.
Nicole and Susie had a problem. No, let me not do that. Susie had a problem that I had seen countless times before. This 30-year-old woman would return from a visit to her parents' home and suffer a deep depression. When she described her problem to me, I asked her if she noticed that every time she went home to visit, she came back extremely depressed. Why, that's ridiculous, she said. I don't live there anymore. How could the trip affect me this way? When I asked her to describe the trip, Susie told me of social gatherings with old friends and family times around the dinner table. These were fun, she said, especially when it was only family. What do you mean, only family? I asked. Well, other times my parents would invite some of their friends over, and I didn't like those dinners as well. Why was that? Susie thought for a minute and then replied, I guess I started to feel guilty. She began to recount the subtle remarks her parents would make comparing her friends' lives to hers. They would talk of how wonderful it is for grandparents to have a hands-on role in raising the children. They would talk of community activities her friends were doing and how wonderful she would be at those activities if only she lived there. The list went on and on. Susie soon discovered that when she returned home, she felt as if she were bad for living where she lived. She had a nagging sense that she really should do what her parents wanted her to do. Susie had a common problem. She had made choices on the outside. She had moved away from the family she grew up in to pursue a career on her own. She had been paying her own bills. She had even gotten married and had a child. But on the inside, things were different. She did not have emotional permission to be a separate person, make free choices about her life, and not feel guilty when she did not do what her parents wanted. She could still yield to pressure. The real problem is on the inside. Remember, boundaries define someone's property. Susie and others like her do not really own themselves. People who own their lives do not feel guilty when they make choices about where they are going. They take other people into consideration, but when they make choices for the wishes of others, they are choosing out of love, not guilt, to advance a good, not to avoid a bad. That's
not to avoid
being bad. Yes, sir.
Signs of a lack of boundaries.
But I can keep reading if you want. Do you feel like reading?
Signs of a lack of boundaries. Let's look at some common signs of a lack of boundaries with the family we grew up in. Catching the virus. I thought we were doing like we was doing last time. Each section we were switching.
Okay.
Taking turns. A common scenario is this: one spouse doesn't have good emotional boundaries with the family he grew up in, his family of origin. Then, when he has contact with them by phone or in person, he becomes depressed, argumentative, self-critical, uh, perfectionistic, angry, combative, or withdrawn. It is as though he catches something from his family of origin and passes it on to his immediate family. His family of origin has the power to affect his new family in a trickle-down effect. One sure sign of boundary problem is when relationships with one person has the power to affect the relationship with others. You're giving one person way too much power in your life. I remember one young woman who made steady gains in therapy until she talked to her mother. Then she would withdraw for 3 weeks. She would say things like, "I'm not changing at all. I'm not getting any better," fussing with many of her mother's ideas about her. She wasn't able to stay separate. This, fusing with many of her mother's ideas about her. She wasn't able to stay separate. This fusion with her mother affected her other relationships. She virtually shut everyone out of her life after an interaction with her mother. Her mother owned her life. She was not her own.
Read. I go to the next main thing. Okay. Second fiddle. You wouldn't believe wait a minute, go back. This right here is so true. It's like they're catching the virus. Sometimes you can be around a family member, loved one. I have experienced this where it's just like I would like have real good action, real good traction, and then all of a sudden, once I talk to a person, it's like it slowed down, or it's like I stalled out, or just like just this, and I didn't know. It wasn't until years later that it started to register. Like, man, when I come around that person, it's always right when I'm like right at my getting ready to touch the peak, and then it's just like a drop. And so it's interesting that is, again, I guess like he said, like catching a virus. You can just be in a space with somebody, and they can carry certain spirits, not what I'm saying spirits, but certain energies, and before you know it, it'll affect you without you knowing that it's affecting you. This is what I mean. They may not say anything in particular to you, like you are nobody or nothing like that, but because you've been in their presence, you could feel that and begin to experience that on the inside, where it's just like, it just feels so defeated. But they never spoke anything negative to you. It's interesting. Second fiddle. You wouldn't believe how she is. You wouldn't believe how she is with him, Dan said. She totally focused on his every wish. When he criticizes her, she tries harder, and she practically ignores him. I'm tired of being the second man in her life. Dan wasn't talking about Jan's lover. He was talking about her father. Dan was tired of feeling like Jan cared more about her father's wishes than his. This is a common sign of lack of boundaries with the family of origin. The spouse feels like he gets leftovers. He feels as if his mate's real allegiance is to her parents. This spouse hasn't completed the leaving before cleaving process. She has a boundary problem. God has designed the process whereby a man shall leave his father and his mother and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Genesis 2:24. The Hebrew word for leave comes from a root word that means to loosen or to relinquish or forsake. For marriage to work, the spouse needs to loosen her ties with her family of origin and forge new ones with the new family she is creating through marriage. This does not mean that husbands and wives shouldn't have relationships with their extended families, but they do need to set clear boundaries with their families of origin. Many families fail because
Many marriages.
What I say?
Families.
Many marriages fail because one partner fails to set clear boundaries with the family of origin, and the spouse and the children get leftovers. Woo.
I think a lot of marriages face that. This is me,
Mhm.
particularly with mom and daughter.
Mhm.
What I've seen, the daughter is involving the mama, or the mom is involving herself in her daughter's relationship, trying to tell her how she needs to deal with her husband, or treat her husband, or do her husband, all this kind of stuff. It creates tension in marriages. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's not with sons and their father. And it could be, but sometimes dads would be like, this from a barbershop standpoint, barbershop talk standpoint, you try to teach a man how to be with how to treat his, sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem. You know I'm not gonna edit that.
It's fine.
What was I saying? What was I saying that you weren't listening to?
Fathers in a barbershop, you don't hear it commonly that fathers and sons have that type of interaction.
Yeah, you weren't listening. So, because sometimes men do try to tell. I guess I don't know.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear
never
that.
heard it.
It's not a lot, but you will get sometimes. You try to tell the son how to treat his wife. You know what I'm
I
saying?
haven't heard it.
It's rare.
I've heard more so the fathers trying to tell the sons how to live life, but not when it comes to like their dating. I hear more mothers with daughters saying treat him. I'm actually guilty of that, so I'm glad you brought that up because I need to make sure to back up because that's theirs, you know.
Right.
And so yeah, so for that I need to.
So I don't want to get confused with good advice.
Yes, sir.
That's one thing. So remember, my dad said, only give advice when it's asked for or when there's life or death. Other than that, you stay out of it. You know what I'm saying? Even when we was going through in our early, he never, even when I went to him a couple of times about, man, he never volunteered information. It wasn't until after I asked, like, Dad, what's going on, that he began to kind of say
Put you on game.
Right. So even when we look at our children, and especially with parents who are parenting adult children, the people that they're picking, at the end of the day, just
That's their people, huh?
like you can't. Even if we know it's a bad relationship, they're still gonna choose them, and they didn't ask us.
Yeah.
So put your top lip and your bottom lip together. Shut up. Just until they ask. Even though we see that this is bad. It's kind. I guess it's kind of. It's because you don't want to not say nothing, but is it a life or death situation? You know what I'm saying?
And something interesting when you said it. Just said it like as parents or the more mature, because we have gone through experiences, we're going to see that this is not healthy. But then in order for them to learn that this is unhealthy, it's like they have to experience that pressure point or that pain or that ache or whatever to say, "Ooh, I shouldn't be feeling this. Hey, y'all help me in this area." Versus saying, this is going to cause you pain. I guess what I'm saying is, we can see through experience and time, and maybe some events that have happened in our life, that this is going to pose a problem for you down the line. Nobody in this life has gotten away with this being pleasurable. So our love for our loved ones is we want to curtail it to save them from some source of pain.
Which is human nature.
That's what I was going to say. That's just, it's human. Like, if you care for somebody, you don't want them to hurt.
Right.
But then by the same token, it's like like Dad said, is this life or death, and did they ask? Because even in some cases, they may ask, and the wisdom may be quiet. Because this is one of them lessons that life will have to teach, so that you can have your ears perked, and that you can have you basically life gonna have to teach you this one.
So even though they ask, you're saying
It may not be for us
even
to
though
say.
you ask, you're saying don't answer anyway, because wisdom is saying let experience teach them this.
It could be.
Could be.
I'm saying in some instances, we may have to still just ask the question.
We ask the question, or they asking the question?
They ask us a question about a situation. Then we begin to ask them questions to lead them to that.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's not just leaving them out there, but at any rate.
Gotcha.
And so they go back to, again, experience will even teach the experience when to even say or when to hold your say. Because it's not always wise for you to even speak up in situations.
And go back to the part of the 3 T's with the timing.
Yeah.
This is when to say it. This is where to say it. This is not the time to actually, based on what you're saying, this is not the time to actually answer the question. This is the time for me to ask more questions so that they can arrive to the conclusion themselves.
Yes. And it's still a guiding, you know? So anyway, that's really good.
May I have my allowance, please? Who in your book? I got Terry and Sherry.
And it's here.
For real?
Yes.
Now, in the previous one, it was Dan and Megan. And what was that guy name? It was another one. They actually told the person, oh, it was Henry.
Okay.
With Michelle. Anyway, whatever. May I have my allowance, please? Terry and Sherry were attractive. I did. Terry and Sherry were an attractive couple. They owned a big house and went on lavish vacations. The children took piano lessons and ballet and went to summer camps and had their own skis, ice skates, and electronic gadgets. Terry and Sherry had all the trappings of success, but there was one problem. This lifestyle was not supported by Terry's paycheck. Ew. Terry and Sherry received much financial help from his family. Terry's family had always wanted the best for him, and they had always helped him get it. They had contributed to the house, the vacations, the children's hobbies. While this allowed Terry and Sherry to have things they could not otherwise have, it cost them dearly as well. The periodic bailouts from his parents cut into Terry's self-respect, and Sherry felt as if she couldn't spend any money without consulting her in-laws since they contributed the funds. Terry illustrates a common boundary problem for young adults today, both married and single. He is not yet an adult financially. What? He was not yet an adult financially. He could not set boundaries on his parents' desire for him and Sherry to have everything we have. He also found that he had so fused with their ideas of success that he had trouble saying no to these wishes in himself. He wasn't sure he wanted to forsake the gifts and handouts for a greater sense of independence. Terry's story is the upside of the financial boundary problem. There's always the I'm in trouble side. Many adult children perpetually get into financial messes because of irresponsibilities, drug or alcohol use, out of control spending, or the modern I haven't found my niche syndrome. That parents continue to finance this road of failure and irresponsibility, thinking that this time they'll do better. In reality, they are crippling their children for life, preventing them from achieving independence. Adults who do not stand on their own financially are still children.
Yeesh.
To be an adult, you must live within your means and pay your own failures. And pay for your own failures.
Ooh.
So I agree, however, and plus also along with it, if there's a time where so the bailouts should be seldom, rare, not continual. You know what I'm saying? Or not frequent. I think we all have times where we get into a bind.
A pinch.
Right. But if it's all the time, now
That's
we
so
got a
wrong.
crutch. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
anyway.
so good. That's so good. I think that again, anyway, reading this big you can stop.
You good.
When I think about parenting, and you know, when you finally come to that place where you have arrived and achieved, it's like you do want to give to your children.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say this was about 2 weeks ago. I was in prayer and I was thinking about like I wanted to give our children houses when they became adults.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to give them a start, a platform, a financial jump start. And so I was frustrated with myself because I hadn't been able to give this to them the way that I pictured it in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to present it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of beating myself up and all of that. And I quieted myself and I heard the Holy Spirit say, what if that wasn't the way I wanted for them? What if that's not the way I wanted you to engage with them? And I made my peace. It's like, that doesn't mean that I won't continue to have that desire or that goal. But now may not be the time to give them that desired gift. And it could be that this is where maybe the Holy Spirit wants to teach them how to depend on Him, also to give them a sense of reward that, hey, I worked for this new home.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, I saved up for this new ride. How about you take that into consideration? And it's not to say that either is wrong. I think that's the other thing that I had in my mind. It's like the desire to want to give them a start a home, start a land, start an account, car, you know, where they don't have to enter into adulthood with the struggles that we had. That's not a bad thing. By the same token, it's not bad for them to seek out a career and them pick out a home and them save up to get whatever the desire is of their heart. Like, that's a part of their learning journey too. So you don't want to interrupt that. So either way it goes, it can be healthy once you deposit the proper characteristics and the proper character traits that make them men and women, you know, in society, you know, honorable, or not honorable, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, make them mature.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
I think a couple of things. A couple of things is, so I ain't gonna say that part. I see. Well, the couple of things. So let me say, sometimes I make my mind for. All right, just so let's go here. Let's go. So you wanted to give them a house, each a starter home.
all of the things.
So you want to give them a starter home when they started. And your statement was, could it be that this is what God said, this be what I wanted? Is that really God saying it? Or is it a way to cushion the fact that we didn't stay consistent doing the things that we, like, do you think we stayed consistent doing the things that we were supposed to do to be able to provide the house for them? You know what I'm saying? That's what I was looking at. I'm like, did we really? do our part. You know what I'm saying? Was the not getting it because this is really God's way, or was it because we didn't put forth a lot of efforts to make it happen? You know what I'm saying? That's one question. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is.
Cause I'm like, what?
The other thing is, although we didn't give them the house, whatever, we gave them the tools. Like, they got the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding. Like, those who allowed us to pour into them, I mean, they all got 700 plus credit scores. They all got savings account that they all work for. They all got brokerages account that they got. You feel what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, while they didn't get the house, the car, or whatever, I think they got a lot more than that because we gave them the knowledge and the wisdom.
So let's go back to your first question. So what do you think is the answer to that question?
If I'm answering from my standpoint is if I were consistent doing what I think what I should have done business wise, financial wise, I think they would have had those started, whatever the things may be. You know what I'm saying? If I'm answering the question for me.
Okay,
You know
so
what I'm
in
saying?
your prayer time, that's what you do? No, for real. On a real, no. No, for real. For real. So, I am less likely, the more I mature, I am less likely to find excuses as to why I didn't. I am more inclined to believe that it just wasn't in the cards, because if it had been, then it would have been. I know this thing kind of weird.
Yeah, but is it not in the cards? Because so
That's
so
what
it's
I'm
like
saying. Wait. Well, let me tell you why. Hold on. I got some receipts. So we were big on foundational building, which is to what you said in your second answer. So as far as making sure they had a quality education, that they was that they and not just a quality education on the back end, but even from the foundation, from making the investment to having a Christian upbringing with their education, making the sacrifices to homeschool. We didn't have this big elaborate house for show. We chose to invest in vacation, like times together as a family, making sure they had experiences as far as whatever their bent was or their interests were. We used that to make sure that those things were developed, which we're seeing the fruit of it now. So it wasn't that the finances was not there, but it was like, we need to use these means right now as a way to help build character and build them into men and women that are self-sufficient, and we can see that now.
Right.
So that was really the wealth. And then by the same token, it wasn't like we getting a portfolio of houses and we incurring all that and we ain't giving y'all nothing. But I do believe that when we do begin to invest in properties and wealth and all of the things, then they will even be at a more mature place to be able to handle the portfolio. Like when we build a trust, then it can be allotted properly. So it's not to say that it won't ever come. It's just like, this is not the time for that now. So that desire that we had, I'm assuming that you have it too. But the desire that we have to be able to give them, financial equity at the end of our life, so that they can continue to live life, I do believe we're still on trajectory for that. It's not like it's off because they are no longer young children. It's like now we really can invest in building means to build our portfolio, to then on the back end pass it to them when they need it. So their goal is not off the table to do.
Okay.
I'll hit you with this book. Ugly.